Well, hello, Houston. I'm Elizabeth Liz Miranda, your bilingual realtor with Miranda Properties, and welcome to our show, Casa y Vida Houston. As always, we want to thank our sponsors for our show. Our show wouldn't be possible without them. Our first sponsor is Susie Condolopoulos. She is a loan officer with Gateway Mortgage. If you are looking to get pre-approved for a home loan, you want to contact Susie Condolopoulos, and we'll be putting her information on the screen in a little bit. Our second sponsor is Texas Low Cost Insurance Agency. Oh, well, there's our information. And of course, we're a sponsor of the show also, right? Elizabeth Miranda with Miranda Properties if you're looking to buy a home. Our other sponsor, as I was saying, is Texas Low Cost Insurance Agency, and they specialize in homeowners insurance. And so we'll be getting you that information on the screen also in a little bit. It's not a problem. We want to go ahead, and today we're going to be talking to you about breast cancer awareness. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're going to be talking to you about the topic. And first, I want to welcome our host, my co-host, Sonia Rivera.
Hi, everybody.
And today we're very fortunate to have someone that's going to be talking to us. She is with The Rose, and her name is Elda Gavidia.
Yes,
Elda Gavidia. Yes. Welcome, Elda.
Thank you for having me. Very excited to be here with you.
You're very welcome. Well, before we go on, I do want to mention something, of course, and that is that I am a breast cancer survivor myself. I was actually diagnosed with breast cancer in 2010, and I coincidentally, or I don't know if it's a coincidence or everybody goes to the Rose, but certainly I went to the Rose for my treatment, or actually for my diagnosis, in fact, when I found out. So certainly I want everyone to know about the Rose. So first of all, we'll talk a little bit about me and about what I went through. But Elda, if you would tell us a little bit about the Rose and what you do at the Rose.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, congratulations for being, 8-year breast cancer survivor now.
Yes,
so
yes,
happy
thank
for
you.
I mean, that is something that we love to continue to see all the time and celebrate y'all, because it's such a big feat. And so that's pretty much why the Rose exists. We have a mission, and our mission is to save lives through advocacy and access to care for all, regardless of their ability to pay. So we see everyone at the Rose, whether they have insurance or they're uninsured. If you're uninsured, they come to us, and what we do is we look for programs that'll be able to provide sponsorship for their care. And so that is why we exist. And every year we see close to 40,000 patients come through our doors. This past year alone, almost 7,000 of those were uninsured. And so that's what we do. We try to help. We try to sponsor. We not only do it within our 2 locations. We have one in the southeast side, which is off of 45 South in Fuqua, and we have another one in the Bel Air area off of 610. But we also have our mobile mammography program. We have 2 coaches that state-of-the-art, very nice coaches that go out also to close to 40 counties around the Harris County, and provide those services around the Houston area as well.
Okay. And tell me, I was very fortunate. I'll be honest with you. I was very fortunate to have insurance at the time. And in fact, let me tell you what happened with me. I have been self-employed most of my life. And even when I have worked for companies, I've always worked for very small companies. So most of my adult life, I have not had insurance. Health insurance, and coincidentally that year I got health insurance, and so I decided, I need to go get a physical. I haven't had a physical in years, and my doctor says, you need to have a mammogram. Have you ever had one? I said no, and he goes, well, you need to have one, and so he recommended me to the Rose, and so I went to the Rose and had my first ever mammogram, and that's when I found out that I had breast cancer. And in fact, they kept calling me to come back, and I'm like, these people, why did they bothering me? I ignored them for about a month. I'm like, they must want something from me, some more money. I mean, I'm not kidding you. This is really what I was thinking. I'm like, why? And they called me, like, come in, and that's when I realized. I went back and I found out that I had breast cancer.
Oh, wow.
And I feel very, very lucky, through everything that I went through, because obviously I went through I went through a mastectomy. I lost my left breast. I went through chemotherapy. I went through radiation. I had breast reconstruction also. So it was a lot that I went through, and I felt so lucky that I had very, very good health insurance for the
Yes.
first time in my life.
Yes.
I don't know what I would have done had I not had insurance. Honestly, I just don't know what I would have done. It was a difficult experience to go through, but to not have insurance would have just been completely devastating.
Yes.
So I definitely want you to tell us about what you do for people that don't have insurance.
Absolutely, and it's, my heart goes out to people without insurance. It's amazing, but the face of the uninsured is very different than what most people think. A lot of people think that the uninsured are people that don't work, or they just have this stereotype of who they are. But really, the face of the uninsured is sometimes working women who just don't have insurance at their workplace, or we have people that work, women that work sometimes 80-hour weeks, and they're restaurant owners, or they work in different fields that just don't provide that insurance. So we've come across so many different faces of uninsured women, and what the Rose is there to say is, don't not come in just because you don't have insurance. And what we do is we look for programs. We have both separate funding that comes from the government, but we also have grants that we're continuously applying for, and then we get approved and we get money. There's just so many different sponsorships and programs of ways of sponsoring uninsured women. So what we do is, you give us a call. If you don't have insurance, we will set you up to speak to one of our sponsorship coordinators. And what they do is they take a look at all of your qualifications, if you will, and we try to fit you in the best program that will help you. And one of the other things that we are known for at the Rose is our patient navigators. So if you're insured, you get diagnosed and you move on your way to treatment. But for the uninsured, most people will get the diagnosis and then that's it. But what we do is we walk with them through every step of the way. We try to find people and doctors and surgeons who will perform a mastectomy or a reconstruction or things of that sort. And we hold their hand, we let them grieve through the process, and we're trying to coordinate every other step of their treatment. So those are the services that we offer. And every time I try to talk to someone about what the Rose is, we're not just someone who does a screening or a diagnosis and then moves on. We really do care for women, whether they're insured or uninsured.
And I want to inject that in my case, or a family member's case, that she was insured and she had what we thought was really great insurance, but it was costing, I think, well over $400 to go to to the provider that's listed on their insurance. And so obviously that was just insane to us, and we couldn't afford that. So we ended up calling the Rose, and you guys were able to get us in pretty much
wonderful.
right away, and worked with us and on the pricing. So I'm not sure what you had to do, but I know that we had a much more pleasant experience going to the Rose, and the staff was super friendly, and everybody was just so just amazing. The feeling that you get walking in there, you just feel immediately comfortable, and because it can be a really traumatic situation. I mean, it is a really traumatic situation, and it can be really daunting going in there not knowing what the outcome is going to be.
That is true. That the Rose, it's a very nice facility. It's almost like a spa.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, it's a very nice, very pleasant, very quiet. They treat you with a lot of respect, very nicely. Just very compassionate. I always felt very comfortable because, again, it's very, very traumatizing. It's very devastating when you get diagnosed with cancer, or even before, when you just simply go and you don't know the results. Sitting there and waiting and not knowing, it's very difficult, but they make you feel very comfortable. So I will say that they do. And then, one of the things that I also wanted to say is that, I think that a lot of times people hesitate to go get checked because they don't have money. And I have to admit that, looking back, once I got diagnosed, looking back, I think that I'm almost sure that I felt a lump. And so I didn't have insurance. So I really believe that I'd have to say that probably for like a year before I got diagnosed, I actually felt a lump. And so I would do self-examination the way they tell you to. I would do it every so often when I was taking a shower, and I remember feeling something like a teeny weeny little, almost like a marble, but it was like half the size of a marble. It was that round. It was like little round, like smaller than a marble. And I thought, well, that's not breast cancer. I would think it, and I would just kind of like not even speak it. Just subconsciously, I felt it. It was there. I'm like, no. And I'm like, well, I probably should get this checked out. But, I don't have money to go get it checked out. Now, of course, I say I don't have money. But like you said, when we think of the uninsured, we're not talking about people that don't have money. I'm not someone who doesn't have money to, buy groceries. I'm not someone who doesn't have money to go out to eat, go out and spend money on the weekends. I mean, I probably spend on the weekends what it would have cost me to have a mammogram.
Yes,
that's the truth. Or whatever it would have cost at a reduced rate as someone who didn't have insurance. So I do look back and I always wonder about that. Had I gone, maybe I would have caught it a little bit sooner, because I was already a stage 2, like a stage 2B, which is almost a stage 3, and it had already spread into my lymph nodes. So it was already spreading, and I always wonder, what had it been different if I had gone sooner.
Right.
So I think it's important, and that's one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about my experience, because I think we talk a lot. It's very good that we're all supporting breast cancer, but sometimes we don't really know what breast cancer really is, and I think it's important that we be honest. This is my first time being like, very obvious and telling everybody about it. But I think it's important that people know what to expect. So definitely I want to make sure that ladies know that if you feel something very small, even the size of half of a marble, yes, that can be breast cancer. And yes, you do need to get it checked out, and you need to put off shopping if you have to go get checked out.
Right.
Right.
Erda, how often do you think that, and I don't know if you have statistics on this, but how often do you think that women procrastinate or are in denial about this being a possibility?
It's actually a lot more common than you would think. We come across, I don't have exact numbers, but I will say that a lot of the things that we come across when we're speaking to patients who finally came in and finally were diagnosed or got checked was they were afraid of finding out what the results were, so they just decided they were just going to hold off on it. And nothing can... I can't say how often we've heard that, and it's funny because they think, or not that we think that, but somehow we convince ourselves that if we just don't get checked, we won't have cancer. And nothing could be further from the truth. It's better to know. Just get checked and get that off your mind. And so we do see that a lot. We do see a lot of women that'll just put it off, people who have insurance that'll put it off, or people who are uninsured and say, well, I just rather just wait. And unfortunately, that's why a lot of our uninsured women, by the time they come in, they're already in later stages of cancer because they put it off so much for that reason. Just give us a call and we'll figure out what we can do for you. But yes, it does happen actually very often.
Or I would imagine maybe someone that doesn't have a family history perhaps maybe would delay it, thinking that it's not going to happen to them.
Right. And I actually want to talk about that just really quick if I can. What we're starting to see at the Rose is that, yes, it is true that if you have family history in breast cancer, that will affect your chances, but we're actually beginning to see a lot of breast cancers being diagnosed for women who have no family history at all, and it's starting to happen younger and younger. So I know that across the board we ask that over 40 you begin to get your annual mammograms, but we're starting to see, we just finished diagnosing someone at the age of 21. No family history.
Wow.
Where did that come from? It could have been for many different reasons. And she felt something and she went to go get different people to check on it, and they were all telling her, you're too young, you're too young. You'll never hear that at the Rose. If you feel like something's wrong, you know yourself. So if you feel something's wrong, just get it checked and we will do that for you, because it's better to be safe than sorry.
And it's true. I think that sometimes we think that it's something that is, it runs in families, but it does not necessarily. I am the youngest of 6 girls, and none of my sisters have, fortunately, ever had breast cancer.
Wow.
And so I was certainly very, very shocked, and to this day, no one else has been diagnosed with breast cancer. And then also, actually before I got diagnosed, that same year, earlier that year, because I actually got diagnosed in October during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I remember. But that same year, my daughter's cousin, through her dad, was about 34 years old, and she got diagnosed early in 2010, and she was about 34 years old when she got diagnosed. And I remember because this happened right before I did, and then I got diagnosed, and 2 years later she died from breast cancer. She was at the age of 36. So the thing is that's another thing, is that people still die from breast cancer.
They do.
Yes. And like I said, and often, and many times it is the younger women that because they are young, they don't think that they can get breast cancer, or they don't get checked also.
Breast cancer is 98% curable when caught early. And that number boggles my mind, because there are still so many people dying of breast cancer. But if we catch it early enough, 98%, I mean, that's almost 100% of women that can be cured, or be survivors rather, if they were to just catch it early. If you feel something wrong, come get it checked.
I'm very surprised to hear you talk about the age, because that actually, when I said a family member, that my daughter was had a lump, and she was barely 18 years old. So we thought, what? And I, of course, I understand the severity, but not in her age group. So I'm very, but everything worked out well, and it's something that needs to be monitored, and it wasn't, thank goodness it wasn't diagnosed as cancer. But she does have to get regular checkups to make sure it doesn't progress. But it's something that, to me, it was unheard of in someone her age.
Yeah, well, we can't emphasize enough, that it doesn't matter what age you are. You need to get checked if you think that there's any possibility you could have cancer. But certainly once you reach, I know some people say 40. I'm going to say at least 50. I know some groups say that you should start getting mammograms at 40. I would say at least at 50. Make sure that you get a mammogram. And in closing, if you would go ahead and please just give us your addresses again and your phone number.
So you can reach us on the web at therose.org. You can also give us a call at 281-484-4708, or visit us at our location, our southeast location at 12700 North Featherwood, Suite 260, Houston, Texas 77034, or in the Galleria at 5420 West Loop South, Suite 3300 in Bel Air, Texas.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Elda. We really appreciate the information.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And we will be right back after this commercial. Well, welcome back to Casa y Vida Houston. And we have our second guest of the show today, and it is none other than Jose Manuel Diaz, who we've had on our show before. And he is with AAMA Sanchez Charter Schools, and he's going to be telling us about these schools. Welcome, Jose.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hello, everybody.
You're very welcome. So tell us about AAMA Sanchez Charter Schools, please.
Well, AAMA Sanchez Charter Schools, Sanchez has been around. It's one of the oldest charter schools here in the city of Houston. It was formally established as charter school in 1996. I actually myself am a graduate of Sanchez Charter Schools. So it's not something that started recently. We have various programs. We have everything from our main campus, which is 6th through 12th grade, and that's on the southeast side of town. It's on Wayside and 45 area. We have a 6th through 9th grade campus on the north side off of Parker Hardy Toll Road area, and that one's going to be adding a grade every year until they reach 12th. So next year they'll have 10th grade, and we have a pre-K program for 3 and 4-year-olds. That's our AAMA Early Childhood Center, and that's actually quality early childhood, which is very important right now.
I don't know if you guys know this, but I actually worked at AAMA in 1997, and I was there for 11 years. So I'm very familiar with the school. However, it sounds like it's really changed quite a bit. The organization's actually been around since the 70s. And it was operated out of an old church on Clifton, which is where I worked, and we provided social support services to the students. But I'm really glad to see that it's expanding. What kind of students do you get at Sanchez? Like, what's your typical student applicant?
So our students vary. I mean, we are open enrollment, so there's no specific requirements. But we do take students that might have had issues at other schools. Say they had behavioral issues and aren't allowed to go back to their school. We do take those students, but that's not. I think They AAMA used to have that AAMA Sanchez used to have that reputation, but it's actually a lot different now. It's a lot different from when I went there. I mean, you have everything from just some. It's a better environment for students that might not do as well in like a big campus that need that one-on-one attention. I mean, we have for our 6th through 12th grade campus, we have about 700 students. There's 100 students in each grade level, so we have about a 15-to-1 student-teacher ratio. So this way the students get that one-on-one attention that they need. Like I mentioned, the open enrollment. So there's not like special requirements, but we do have them meet with the counselor to address to see if if the students have any barriers, and if they do have any barriers, what can be done to address them. And by barriers, I mean anything from like substance abuse, because we do have those programs in-house, to the teen parents, because we do have a daycare facility on site free for the teen parents as well.
I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was actually one of the first charter schools to provide daycare services for students who had children. So I think that's just absolutely wonderful. That was a lot of the one of the biggest barriers for young women, young ladies that, you know, hadn't finished their education, was that they just didn't have quality daycare and it was too expensive. So I love that they incorporated that. And I've seen that, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I've seen that the smaller atmosphere does work so much better, and it's so much easier to identify when a student does have barriers, or they have learning disabilities, or behavior or environmental issues that larger schools can't provide, just because of the sheer number of students that they have. So it's a really great school. And I'm so happy to see that the services have expanded so much.
Yes. Now, is the school year the same as a regular school?
Yes, we follow the same calendar as HISD. Same thing with holidays, early dismissal days, and you know, the breaks. So we do have a regular school year.
So someone couldn't. So someone could decide to go in now. Like, in other words, if someone wants to, hey, you know what, maybe I'd like to go, go to this school, they could apply at any time.
They can do that, and one of the things I think is important, like, you know, progress reports went out maybe a week or two ago, and I think that would have been a good opportunity for parents to look at what their kids are doing and see, well, you know, what if their student isn't doing as well what's going on? Is it, you know, are you really struggling? Is it your environment or what? Ask those hard questions and find out, you know, if maybe the student does need a change in environment, and now would be the time to do it before it gets too late, before they dig a hole and have to dig their way out. They, you know, just something as simple as an environment change might help them right now.
So in a way, is Sanchez still a school for children that are maybe struggling to fit into their school, or struggling in any other kind of way?
It can be. Like I said, it's a school that addresses the barriers of the students. And that's with our wraparound services, that's what we're guided to, just addressing barriers, because all students have barriers. They're just different kinds.
Yeah. Do they have any? Do these students have any other services available to them other than a traditional school would?
The different services include everything from like I said, when I talk about wraparound services, I mean we do have school social workers and the counselors there, but everything for like some of these students that are new to the country, the unaccompanied minors, there we do have trauma counselors there to have like a trauma group with them if needed, so they get that extra support. We have the substance abuse program. We have our prevention and counseling team, which is still located on Clifton, that does come into our schools, but on site for those students that have deeper issues, we actually have a residential facility for 13 to 17-year-olds with substance abuse issues on site as well, and that way they can attend their treatment as well as get an education there at the school.
And they also do a really good job including family services with wraparound services, right?
Right. So, like I said, we address whatever barriers, and I mean, you know, some students have barriers even at home. You know, their parents might be struggling, don't have a GED, might not know the language, or need some kind of workforce training. So we hook them up with our adult programs at our AAMA Adelante, which has a GED, ESL classes both in the morning and in the evenings, as well as workforce development training. They have a bank teller training program, as well as a medical billing program.
Do you find that most students are from the, like, for instance, the Southeast, they're pretty much from that community? from the southeast community, the immediate community, or do they come from different distances?
So a lot of the students there are local with from that area. We do offer transportation to the students that live within 2 miles, and the ones that live a little bit farther out, depending on how far they're out, there is stops. But because we are a charter school, it's not like a traditional district where you have to live in certain zip codes or be zoned to a certain school. Like even if a student lives in, say, Pasadena, if they can get to our school, if their parent can drop them off, or if it's an older student that drives themselves, as long as they can get to school every day, they could be accepted as well.
I've always felt that it takes a special kind of person to work with not only these students, primarily these students, because I think they do have a tendency to have some sort of a barrier. But I think any students, I think in our educational system now, I think it just really takes a special kind of person to engage with them and have high expectations to them. So I really believe that they will live up to your expectation, but they have to be, attainable. They have to set attainable goals. So what is it that motivates you? Because I know sometimes it can be discouraging when you're really trying to work with somebody and you don't feel like you're making progress, or sometimes maybe you just don't notice that you are making progress. It's happening, but maybe you don't notice it. So what is it that motivates you to do this every day?
Well, me myself, and I can probably say this about other staff members as well, because we've been there. Like I mentioned, I graduated from Sanchez, and there's actually a lot of staff members that are teachers there that are Sanchez graduates as well. So this is a community that's just kind of been building. So we've been in similar situations as the students. We know the barriers they're facing. We understand them better, and that's why the fact that they are smaller classes and you have that one-on-one time, the one-on-one time with somebody that's facing similar barriers that we had. It's easier to work with those students. It's easier for them to see that if we were living in those similar situations before, and we have succeeded, or we have made it to where we are, that they can do the same, that they can follow the same path, or they can come up with their own path, but they can be successful.
You're a walking testimony.
Yeah. Now, what about the graduation rate? How does that? Do you have a good graduation success rate?
We do have a good graduation success rate. Like I said, we do, because we address the barriers, and we try not to let them fall through the cracks. We everything from even the way we do discipline. We don't have a traditional in-school suspension. We have an opportunity room, which provides the students, instead of just punishment, it's opportunity to figure out why are you behaving the way you are? What's going on at home? They do, before they're released from that, they do speak with a counselor or therapist to see what's going on in your life that this is happening, and what can we do to keep you out of trouble. So we have so many ways to address the different barriers, whether it be discipline, whether it be the teen parents, or whether it be substance abuse, that the graduation rate does very well.
I know we have to cut, but I love that you call it an opportunity room. I absolutely love that, because I think that when we label things negatively, these kids have a tendency to continue believing that the label defines them. So when you call something leadership as opposed to at risk, I think they're more inclined to work on leadership skills as opposed to feeling like, poor me, or I can't, it's not going to get any better. So I love the opportunity room.
Yeah,
idea.
I love that too. All right, well, Jose, thank you so much. Is there anything that we missed? Any information that you want to give out as far as how do they contact you if they want more information?
For more information, they can reach out to our. They can find us online at www.aama.org, or they can call our main line at 713-926-1112. And and I mentioned, I didn't really have that much time to talk about our early childhood program, but there is a great program, and it is free for those that qualify income-wise. And for the English learning students, there is no income limit, so it's a great opportunity.
Well, thank you so much, Jose. We really appreciate the
Thank you,
information,
Jose.
and we will be right back. Well, welcome back to Casa y Vida Houston. Just wanted to make sure that I let everyone know that, as I was telling you earlier, I am a breast cancer survivor. I went through the whole treatment, of doing everything, the mastectomy, the, chemotherapy, the radiation, reconstruction surgery, constructive surgery, the whole work. So I just want to make sure that if there's anyone out there that is going through the same thing and needs someone to talk to, I want you to know that you can always call me. You can look me up on Facebook. You can call me on my cell phone, which is 832-878-1255. You can send me a text, whatever it is, because I'm going to tell you, it was a very difficult time for me because I didn't know anyone who'd ever been through this before. And this was in 2010, so a lot of people didn't post anything on Facebook at the time as much. And I never, even though I was already on Facebook, I never posted anything. But it was just really a time for me that I honestly just didn't want to talk to anybody. But I think I certainly wanted to talk to someone who knew what I was going through. And I think that a lot of times, even your own family doesn't understand what you're going through. And I understand why. And I think that one of the reasons was because when I would come out, I would come out with all my makeup and my wig, and I looked, like a regular. I looked like I was normal, but the truth is that I didn't have any hair. I lost all my hair. I had no eyelashes, no eyebrows, nothing. And so what I was going through, I almost felt like I was wearing a mask the whole time. But only people that were going through what I was going through knew what it was like. And so anyway, I just want to make sure that you guys know that if anyone is going through it, or whether it's now or at any time, and you need someone to talk to, I am here to help you and tell you how I dealt with it, and talk to you about wigs, and talking to you about makeup, and about the whole works, all the procedures, and the different options that you have also for reconstructive surgery. Okay. All right. Well, on a positive note, we want to talk about our margaritas. We have been doing, Sonia and I have been in search of the best margaritas in Houston. We've been doing some videos on our page, right? And we didn't do one last week, right, Sonia?
Yeah, something came up last week, so we weren't able to do the margarita tasting. But we will, and tomorrow we're not going to be able to do it, but we will do it at some point throughout the weekend. So that just means that you have to watch our page. Right.
We're not going to do it every Friday because we realize that, hey, every Friday something can happen, or it might be raining. But we are going to do one once. So we're going to do one on this coming week. Make sure that you look at our page, Casa Vida Houston, and then we're going to do another one. And then at the end of October, we are going to come up with the best margarita. We are going to tell you who we feel has the best margarita. So make sure that you keep sending us your messages, your comments. We've had a lot of people make suggestions, so continue to make suggestions, and we will continue to look for the best margarita.
And I just realized that today, I knew it earlier, but I had forgotten that today is Taco Tuesday. So a lot of restaurants are doing 99-cent street tacos. So be sure to check on your social media pages and check out your favorite restaurants or try some new ones.
Sounds awesome. And by the way, also once we get done with our margarita tasting, we're not going to keep doing just margaritas. We're going to be tasting some foods, probably some tacos or something. All right. Anything else that we have for this week?
Gosh, I'm drawing a blank.
Okay, I think we're done, yeah. But definitely, guys, just want to remind you that we're here every Thursday at 1 p.m. And certainly, if you know of any guests, anybody that you think we should have as a guest, anyone who's doing anything amazing or interesting or different, let us know. Look us up on our Facebook page and send us a message.
And be sure to follow us on the page and be checking in periodically. Refer your friends to it. We're going to start popping up randomly. And so you never know what we're going to do. So be sure to stay on top of the page and refer your friends. Like the page.
Yes. And of course, as always, if you're looking to buy a home or sell a home, you can contact me at 832-878-1255, or just send me a message on Facebook. I am always here to help you. And of course, Sonia, if you ever have any questions for Sonia, you can also contact Sonia at 832-790-9140. All right. And guys, we will see you next Thursday then at 1 o'clock. Bye-bye.